Goal Seek in Microsoft Excel is a great solution when you have a set of variables with some relations between them and you want to find what value one of them must have in order for another one to fulfill a certain criterion. Typical applications of this functionality is to find what maximum price you can pay for a house in order for your mortgage not to exceed a certain value, or finding the interest rate that your bank has to offer in order for you to have a given monthly income from the interests. In this example, we will use the following scenario. Imagine you have a plug-in hybrid car and want to find out what is the maximum price per kilowatt hour you can pay so that the cost of driving the car on electricity is lower than driving the car on petrol. Let's try structuring this with numbers in Excel. In column A, we will have the source of energy. In column B, the unit price per liter or kilowatt hour. In column C, we will have the range multiplier. In column D, we will have the range divisor. And in column E, we will have the cost per kilometer. Let's start with the petrol alternative. We enter petrol in cell A2. The cost of 1 liter of petrol is around €1.82 today. We enter this in column B. Our car uses 9 liters per 100 kilometers, so we enter 9 in column C and 100 in column D. The result in column E will be the unit price times the range multiplier divided by the range divisor. We get €0.1629. For the electricity alternative, we have the cost of €0.3 per kilowatt hour. The range multiplier is the capacity of the battery in our car, and the range divisor is how many kilometers we get on a fully charged battery. Since it is winter now, a fully charged battery gives us only 60 kilometers. The cost per kilometer is €0.09. How can you quickly find out what is the maximum price per kilowatt hour that would make our electricity-based driving not to be more expensive than the petrol-based? You can of course try out different values in cell B3, and if you are lucky you may be able to find the right value. However, there is a better way to do it by using the Goal Seek functionality. In order to use Goal Seek, you have to define the criterion you want to fulfill. In our case, you are interested in finding the price of a kilowatt hour, giving us the same cost per kilometer as with fuel. You can describe this by measuring the difference between both values in column E. When the difference is 0, then you know that the cost of both options is equal. Let's enter this criterion in cell H3. To run Goal Seek, you have to go to the Data menu, and there, behind the What If Analysis button, you can find Goal Seek. Clicking on this option will open a simple dialog with 3 values. Set cell, this is the cell with our criterion formula. In our case, it is H3. To value, here you have to specify what value you want to achieve. In our case, it is 0. Please note that this value has to be specified explicitly by entering a numerical value. You cannot refer to another cell to get this. This has to be a number. It cannot be, for instance, a Boolean value. By changing cell, here you have to specify what value should be changed in order to fulfill our criterion. Since you are interested in finding the maximum price per kilowatt hour, then you select B3. When you press enter, you can see that Excel does some changes in the cells, and after a short while displays an updated Goal Seek status dialog saying that the target value was 0. That's the value you entered in the first Goal Seek dialog. And that the current value is also 0, which means that the solution has been found. Indeed, the value in cell B3 has been changed to 0.543. This means that as long as the price per kilowatt hour is lower than €0.543, then it is cheaper to drive on electricity than on petrol. Conversely, you can also find what would the maximum price for petrol have to be in order for both driving options to be equally expensive. In such case, you have to start Goal Seek again and select H3 again as the set value, because we still want to find the break-even point, and it is described in this cell. To value would also have to be 0 as in previous example. The by changing cell address would now have to be C2 because this specifies the fuel consumption. If you now press OK, you will see that Excel, after some calculations, finds that our car would have to consume less than 5 liters of petrol per 100 kilometers in order for both driving options to be equally expensive with current prices. In certain cases, GoalSeek will not be able to find a solution. If this happens, you can try setting the starting value in the cell that you specify in the by changing cell to a much higher or a much smaller value, and it could help. The explanation for this solution is that if GoalSeek approaches a point where the function you used in the criterion field is discontinuous, it stops there and does not continue with values on the other side of that point. Consequently, providing a much higher or much smaller value for starts may hopefully cause GoalSeek to start reaching from the other side of that point and thus finding the solution. In some other cases, GoalSeek may not be able to find the exact solution and will only return an approximate value. An easy example illustrating that is if we simply have a formula calculating the square of a number. Let's enter 2 in cell B10 and a formula to calculate the square of the value in cell B10 in cell C10. Now let's start GoalSeek and specify C10 as the value in said cell. Then let's set the 2 value to 49 and by changing cell to B9. We know that GoalSeek should find 7 as the solution because 7 squared is 49. However, if you run GoalSeek now, you will find that it proposes a value that is slightly different than 7. Why is that? That is because of the precision of the search. You can change the needed precision by going to File, Options, and then Formulas. The maximum change field defines the search precision. By default, it is set to 0.001, but as we can see in this example, it may not be enough. If you change this value by adding some more zeros after the decimal point and then run GoalSeek, you will see that it finds a more correct solution. You will have to, however, be careful with setting the precision to a too small value, because then it may take a really long time for GoalSeek to find the right solution. Be sure to check our other videos to learn more about various Office applications.